From Oklahoma.
Yeah, Madam President, and I know that I was not here when you spoke last night. However, I am familiar with the amendment that is here. Let me share with some of the members here. I hope that they don't look at this amendment as just part of the amendment that was defeated yesterday. We talked about biofuels. There are a lot of people in here who are supportive of biofuels. I am supportive of biofuels. In fact, we're very active in Oklahoma right now in developing various biofuels. We're one of the leaders in the nation. And we actually have a lot of these, plants that are located in my state of Oklahoma. This is not that issue. It's not whether or not you believe that biofuels is something we're working for in the future. We are. We all know that. This is whether or not we should take our very scarce dollars of defense dollars, in this case the dollars that would otherwise go to the Department of Navy, and put them into subsidizing the private sector into building these plants. Now, what we're looking at now is to either retrofit or build biofuel refineries. This is kind of interesting because right now, and I have a list of some, well, it looks to me like it's about 100 different biofuel plants, many of which are in my state of Oklahoma, that are not subsidized by the federal government. And there's no reason to subsidize these by the federal government. This is something that can be done. Now, if you look at the Navy and the problems that they're having right now, I think that people realize that their operation and maintenance funds are stretched to a maximum. They have readiness problems right now. They have a higher op tempo than we've had in the past. And I think it's very important for people to understand that if you keep giving away $170 million here and some more here, that's coming out of O&M. It's coming out of our readiness. And right now, if you talk to any of them in the higher levels of the Navy, they're talking about they've never been in a situation that they've been in before. They've already had readiness problems over the past few years with more than 1/5 of its ships falling short of combat readiness and fewer than half of its deployed combat aircraft being mission ready at any given time. I would urge us to reconsider whether or not we should be in the business of building these plants or retrofitting them, because this is something we haven't done before. Now, energy and agriculture are doing it currently. This is a function that yesterday I stood on the floor and talked about, we're kind of taking over the responsibility of the Department of Energy. We're trying to make the decisions as to how we're going to do this. Should we be developing the progress of the biofuels, which we're doing in the state of Oklahoma without any federal government assistance, or should we be defending America with these dollars? Now, if energy, yes, they're going to spend money on this. The Department of Agriculture certainly currently is spending money on it, but we have not been doing it. I noticed, and I can understand this, the occupier of the chair, the author of this amendment from North Carolina, I'm reading now from one of the websites from a newspaper there saying a private company backed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture will build 130 million biofuel refineries in Sampson County, an estimated 300 jobs. They go ahead and talk about what they may be doing through the Department of Defense. Chemtex was awarded $3.9 million grant in June to convert more than 4,000 acres across 11 counties to begin producing miscanthus and switchgrass and biofuel conversions. The USDA, that's the Department of Agriculture, which is supposed to be doing this stuff, estimates farmers will see a net revenue increase of $4.5 million in growing and selling grass. I come to two conclusions on this. One is, they're already doing it now in the state, as I just read, that is in the state of North Carolina. They're already subsidizing these plants. That's the job, to evaluate and decide whether or not to subsidize these biotech plants, or whether that should be a function of the Department of Energy. So when we look at these and see that, to my knowledge, and I asked my staff before this, we didn't have a lot of notice, to tell me if are any of these plants that are currently being subsidized in any way by the Department of Defense. And his answer was no. After a cursory look, we do have DOE and DOA, Department of Agriculture, Department of Energy, that are doing this. I just hope that everyone here will look at this. I would actually join the chair, join the senator, the author of this amendment, in encouraging the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Energy to look carefully at this, as well as some of our plants in my state of Oklahoma. On this list that I'm going to submit as part of the record, there are about 100 plants scattered throughout the country, including my state of Oklahoma. We need to look at those, evaluate those, and make the determination. Is this a function that government should perform? If so, wouldn't it be more logical to do it as we are doing it today, through the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Energy, and not use our scarce readiness, in this case Navy dollars, that are desperately needed to do this, to subsidize this. With that, I would retain the remainder of my time, and I know that the senator who's authoring the amendment may want to make some comments, maybe not. But I would urge my friends, my colleagues, to stop and realize this is something brand new, having the Department of Defense do the function that has heretofore been done by the Department of Agriculture and Department of Energy, and keep it in that way. And with that, when the appropriate time comes, I would ask for the yeas and the nays on the amendment. I yield the floor.